Raw took place tonight in Des Moines, Iowa. Fun fact, Paul Pinky George, if you've never heard of him, he was a wrestling promoter who ran a promotion, a territory in Des Moines, and he was a founding member of the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance. Unfortunately, Des Moines did not get to have Seth Rollins, who's from Iowa, and he was not on the show tonight. He was probably one of the more over people, even though he wasn't on this show, and he just lost to Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. But they wanted to see him, and speaking of Roman, he came out to start the show tonight. He talks about his accomplishments this year, including beating Seth, and before that winning the title at WrestleMania, beating the Old Man Punk, and also winning the Royal Rumble. So he's won all three major shows, won the Royal Rumble, won the main event of WrestleMania, so won the World Heavyweight Championship, and retained it in the main event of SummerSlam. So big year whenever you get to win at those three major shows. I wonder if he'll even be in War Games this year. Maybe he can go 4 for 4 at Survivor Series, but I wouldn't count on him. Anyway, when he said he beat Seth, that's when the crowd booed. Of course, that's where he's from. So then the fans started singing Seth's song, and Roman went with them. He put the mic up and let them sing his song. He actually told them to do that. Then he was interrupted by L.A. Knight. Yeah, he wants a title shot. He called Roman a fraud. I didn't like what Knight said, his dialogue. I thought it was weak, saying, "Oh, he always wanted to be me." Like, why the fuck would Roman Reigns want to be LA Knight for? Why? He's had like fucking 11 main events at WrestleMania. I don't know how many main events at SummerSlam. What does he get out of being LA Knight? That's such a stupid thing for LA Knight to say. And I know it's not him, but like, whoever told him to say that's dumb. I thought Knight's delivery was good, but I didn't like what he was actually saying. Anyway, Roman told him to get to the back of the line. Then Knight says he's the uncrowned champion. Then we got some superstar arrivals. Javon Evans was out next. Then he took on Ethan Page, who came out after the break. And there was an awesome OG Cutter finish in this match, but that's not what people are talking about here. After the match, Big Cass got in the ring and he hit a big boot to Javon Evans, and he hits the East River Crossing. He's finally back. They've been teasing it for weeks. Big Cass back in the WWE after he was released 8 years ago. I remember being very surprised about that. Now, someone else who was released 8 years ago, maybe about 8.5 years ago to be exact, right after that Raw 25 show, Enzo Amore. He was not with Big Cass, and that's disappointing. I wanted to see Enzo and Cass together. Look, Cass without Enzo, I've seen it before. He's just a big guy who's tall. He doesn't offer much at all besides that. He needs Enzo with him. They don't have to be a tag team. I wouldn't mind Enzo as his manager. I think that can work, but people want to see Enzo and Cass back. And look, Cass by himself, he's just going to get boring. He's just a generic big man. Doesn't offer much. He needs Enzo. With the two of them together, yeah, they can be finally have the run they should have had like a decade ago. But without Enzo, I don't see much for Cass, and I don't think Enzo needs to be a wrestler. I don't want to see them tag. The tag division is such shit. Like, I don't need to see him win the tag titles. I'd be okay if Cass goes as a singles run with Enzo as his manager. Anyway, backstage, Roman was just chastising the Bloodline after they lost at SummerSlam. He tells them not to go after LA Knight, who walks right by. Jay confronts him before Knight leaves. So they kind of like said LA Knight's out of the building because of the closing angle, which made sense. Backstage, Royce Keys was talking to Jacob Fatu in the locker room. Jacob tells him they're not family. Then he challenged him to a street fight tonight. Liv Morgan, the Women's World Champion, Raquel Rodriguez, the Women's Intercontinental Champion, and Roxanne Perez, who I believe will be the Women's Money in the Bank in a couple of months. She will win the briefcase. We're out next. Lillian Garcia was doing the introductions tonight. She introduced the three of them. Liv gave Io credit as she's been the only woman brave enough to challenge her. That's her narrative. She says she sees no new challengers. And then she puts over the new Women's Intercontinental Champion, Raquel Rodriguez. Then she puts over Roxanne Perez. Then Sol Ruca comes out next. We get Sol Ruca and Roxanne. There was actually a good-looking surfboard spot by Sol. She had Roxanne up, and she was like Roxanne is so tiny and Sol's legs are so long. It was a cool visual. It was like she was like reverse riding a surfboard because like Roxanne was so tiny. She was like pushing her up with her legs. And they have a good match, actually, but then there was some botches. Of course, it's a Sol Ruka match. There's going to be Sol Ruka botches, Botcha Ruka, I know. But Liv attacks Sol, stopping the Soul Snatcher that caused a DQ. Then Roxanne hits the Pop Rocks onto Sol. Then Raquel hit the Tejana Bomb. They lay her out, and then the three of them are posing. That's when Becky Lynch makes a surprise return. It's been a couple months. Becky says she's coming after Liv, not Raquel, and she mocks Liv for not defending her title. Then Liv tells her to go home and be a mom, but then Becky mocks Liv for sleeping with Dom. And the thing with Becky here is she is clearly back as a babyface. I'm glad her heel persona is done. I was bored with that. She's done enough as a heel. I think people just like her. They want to cheer her as a babyface. And I think we got kind of like the wisecracking Becky Lynch back. We're not going to get the 2018, 2019 man Becky Lynch. I think that character's done. That's just that belongs in a different time. I don't think she can ever get that over again. But this Becky I like, the wisecracking Becky, who's very entertaining and has really good charisma with good delivery. And then Liv and Raquel and Roxanne left, but then flames come up through the stage as Pyro. Stephanie Vaquer makes a surprise return. She immediately attacks Raquel and Roxanne, and she goes after Liv, who retreats back into the ring. She attacks Liv, who then is able to get out. We didn't get to see the Devil's Kiss. I thought she was going to do the Devil's Kiss to Liv, but she didn't. And then we have Becky Lynch and Stephanie Vaquer in the ring. They have an intense stare down that goes on for not several minutes, but went on for like a minute or two. Like, it looked like they're about to have a match, and they were really close, like close enough to kiss. It was just weird that they were so close, but it makes you think, oh, they're going to have a match very soon, but I'm not sure. Then we got a Brock Lesnar video package highlighting his career. So this was the exact same video package they aired after WrestleMania. There was mixed with some new clips from SummerSlam, but it's the exact same. And I'm thinking to myself, they thought he was done at WrestleMania, but then he came back. Now, they don't know if he's done. He might have told them, I'm done, but it's Brock. He can change his mind. He wants a bigger payday. It's Brock. He can come back from that. So, again, it's left open-ended, but they're not telling you it's over for sure. At WrestleMania, they were telling you it was done. Here, it's open-ended. I'm not convinced Brock's going to ever be done in WWE. I don't think he's going to want a big retirement like John Cena did. I think Brock's just a guy who's going to come back for the money, and he can't fight anymore. He's too old for that, so he's just going to do a wrestling match. And I think he's just going to keep collecting paychecks. He loves money. He only has to do it once or twice a year. He's still in great shape. And he only has to do a 5-minute match. That's all people really want to see. They like seeing Lesnar sprints. So I'm not sure he's done for sure. But again, if he's done, hell of a run. But, I think that just remains to be seen. It might just be a thing where he might not come back and, people stop talking about and assume he's retired, or he does come back. We'll see. Then we saw Oba Femi walking past Paul Heyman backstage. Oba it was awkward. He was dressed like he was about to give a sermon. Like he was like a priest or someone. What? It was so weird, his white gown. He tells Paul he tells Paul Heyman that next time you see Brock, tell him they said thank you. They shake hands, and that was it for them. Then Oba Femi was out next. He mentions Destiny. He really puts over Brock and makes you think, all right, that feud's over for sure. He's being very respectful. So then he's clearly teasing a title match. Then as he's leaving, the Visions music comes out, and we got a stare down between Oba Femi and Braun Breaker. Look, that's awesome. I've wanted to see that match for a very long time. I don't give a shit about Austin Theory and Maxine Dupree and Logan Paul. Oba Femi, Braun Breaker, I think that should be a WrestleMania main event in the future. That could be a major WrestleMania main event if they play their cards correctly. And I don't trust Triple H to do that because I have no confidence in his booking team anymore. But that's gonna be a big match. Even if it happens in the near future, which I don't think it should, it's still gonna be a big anticipated match. So then Braun Breaker took on Joe Hendry. This was quick. He just speared him. I think Joe Hendry's going to get cut, unfortunately. The only thing Joe Hendry has is an entrance. It's the equivalence of Jey Uso, who's just an entrance, not having an entrance. What is he without the entrance? what is Trick Williams really without his entrance? He doesn't get to have whoop that trick. Joe Hendry is an entrance, and with him not having an entrance, there's nothing to him. That's all he really is, and it's okay. He's like an opening act guy. That's fine, but yeah, not good. So after the match, what happened was Theory attacked Hendry, then Tozawa attacks him, and that's so stupid. I guess they wrote off Otis, and Braun just laughed. Like, he was so mad. He wants to face Obafemi. Backstage, Jackie Redmond interviewed Big Cass. He takes the mic from her and says it took him 8 years to get back here. Nothing personal against Javon Evans. Pretty good promo from Cass here. We see Jacob Fatu warming up in the back. Chad Gable is out next. He gets "You Deserve It" chants from the crowd who likes him. Then Penta comes out. He's interrupted by Dom and JD, and it leads to a tag match, an impromptu tag team match. Playa. We get Chad Gable and Penta defeating Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough. Then backstage, Braun was talking to Paul Heyman. He wants to go after Obafemi. And then in the background, we see Lyra Valkyria talking to Adam Peterson. By the way, we haven't seen Bayley back. No mention of her at all since Saturday Night's Main Event a few weeks ago. She's done, guys. She's going to AEW. And they announced that the AEW show Wrestle Dream, that's what Mercedes was teasing. It's in Orlando. They're going to be facing in their stomping grounds. Bayley and Mercedes in their stomping grounds. Bayley and Sasha, if you want to go back. In Orlando. So Jacob Fatu was out next, and then Royce Keys came out after the break. We get the street fight main event. Jacob Fatu fighting his former, well, they would call themselves blood brothers in a way, very close, those two. So Royce Keys power slammed Jacob Fatu through the barricade. Tables are brought out, as were chairs. A million fucking chairs were thrown into the ring. Look, I'm so sick of seeing that in every single WWE street fight / Extreme Rules match / no DQ match, whatever. It's a typical fucking plunder match. I hate plunder matches now. I'm so sick of them. I used to always be a big fan of of those weapons matches. I always been entertained by them. Not anymore. I'm so sick of these plunder matches. Stop throwing a million chairs in the ring when you're not going to use any of them. All you need is one fucking chair. I hate when they throw a billion chairs in the ring, and I hate seeing a table set up that they're just waiting to use. And the problem is you don't buy into anything happening until the table is used. Anyway, Fatu hit a Samoan drop through the table in the corner, followed by a mighty moonsault. Kendo sticks, by the way, were also used in this match. Forgot to mention. And I think they wept each other and threw each other into the stairs or whatever. Anyways, after that mighty moonsault, he locks in the tongue and death grip until Royce Keys goes out. Fatu wins, and he kept going on afterwards until he lets go. And then he took a break. It was weird. Why would he stop then go back to it? Well, it was because Royce Keys had a blood capsule in his mouth, and he bit the blood capsule, so blood would gush out of his mouth. And that's when Fatu put the tongue and death grip back on him, and he's bleeding from the mouth. That's pretty gory. And then he just takes multiple hip attacks, and Fatu puts the chair on Keys, hits him with another hip attack, destroys him. Heavy angle. And I'm thinking to myself, they're writing Royce Keys off TV. Is he hurt? Why? He's not even here for a year yet. Why would they write him off TV so soon? But he just got killed by Jacob Fatu here. And I don't know, it was a good angle, but I don't know what they're doing with Keys now. But the one thing I do know is because this was on Netflix, I guarantee you, Netflix is going to censor the blood. They're going to censor that for sure. Are you kidding me? Then Roman Reigns came out. He approves of what Jacob just did. Roman shook. Then after that, they both put their the one up, and then he goes to the back. We follow Roman and Gorilla. He meets with Rey Mysterio of all people. They shake hands, and Rey wants to run something by him. He tells him he's the general manager of AAA. And all I thought was, wow, they're going to put Roman Reigns on that Chicago AAA show to go right after AEW's All Out show. So I think Punk's probably going to be in Chicago too. They're going to sell that out with Roman Reigns and CM Punk on that show. Yeah, that's definitely something to look forward to. But that was Raw tonight. A very good show. Very good. The big thing that happened here, the angle at the end was really good, but also the bigger news was Big Cass making his return after 8 years. We've been waiting for that. And then Stephanie Vaquer returning since WrestleMania, and Becky Lynch returning after 2 months. So Becky and Stephanie could be a new match, and the Raw Women's Division is so much better now with Becky Lynch and Stephanie Becker and two of the biggest stars who are back in that division. That division was dying without them. Like there was no one there. And like besides like Io, like yeah, it was really only Liv and Io because Raquel and Roxanne are aligned with Liv. So the women's division definitely helps. And like when you think about it, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Roxanne Perez, Io Sky, Becky Lynch, Stephanie Becker. There's a couple more I haven't thought about, but like that's a decent division. Those are your top five, and SmackDown will get better. Their women's division once Rhea gets back, but like the women's, I don't think the women's division's really been very good in the last since WrestleMania. It hasn't been, but the Raw was good tonight. We'll see. I hope Big Cass. Hopefully Enzo Amore joins him in the future. That's the one thing I want to see, but I definitely thought this was a good follow-up Raw show to SummerSlam, and we'll see what happens next as WWE continues through the summer. One more month of summer, then we'll get into the fall. That's when football season starts. This is the toughest time for them coming after SummerSlam because it's football season, and the viewership goes down. It's so long before like the Rumble and Mania in that time. So this is their toughest period of the year, quarter of the year, this last part. So we'll see what they have in store for us. But no doubt, the Raw after SummerSlam definitely delivered, and definitely, I thought, without question, one of the better Raws we've seen this year.